Before I begin, as we always do, could I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we gather today, the members of the great Kulin Nation, and pay my deep personal respects to their elders past and present, and thank their elders, particularly those of the Wurundjeri, whose lands these are, for the work that they do throughout our community as we meet here today. If you are visitors to our city, we're a very young city, founded only in 1835, but we're very proud that our First Peoples are the oldest continuous culture in the world, and we think it's appropriate to recognise that before we make presentations. Could I also acknowledge my colleague Mayor Steve Chadwick from Rotorua. Pleasure to have another mayor here, and to all of you, many friends that I have throughout this room, many of you that I've met before. Anyone here from Sydney? 7th most livable city in the world. So welcome to all of you visitors to the most livable city in the world. #1 city for 5 years in a row. That wasn't very kind for a leader of a political city, was it? But anyway, very interesting thing, and I'm glad that a couple of the representatives from the City of Melbourne are here today, and I'll embarrass them by mentioning them later. Yesterday I released our clue data. We do a census of land use and employment. We do it every 2 years. We speak face to face with businesses throughout the municipality, and we gather very valuable data. I firmly believe in decision making that is based in good data. My friend Mike Bloomberg, the ex-mayor of New York, has a great party trick. He pulls a dollar bill out of his pocket, that revered American greenback, and he kind of snaps it, and he says, "This is our greenback. On it, it says, 'In God we trust,' and we do. The rest of you bring data." and he means that. He means that if you want good public policy decision making, ethical public policy decision making, base it in good data, because you can't fudge that. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I mean, the good part for us is, and you know, when you hear of people making decisions that bring electricity and water and sanitation to their people, you recognise the scale of problems that we face here is completely different. So I'm not going to pretend that our decision-making processes are based in the necessities of life like that. But that clue data does show us something important. Another little anecdote before I sort of go on is something you might not know about, and we are a very affluent city. We have a flag of the City of Melbourne. You might not know that, but we do. It sits on the front of my car. Can I recommend you get a flag on the front of your car? You can buy them really cheaply at, Arthur Davies or somewhere. You turn up somewhere and people think, "I've got no idea who he is, but he's got a flag on his car. You take the Prime Minister's spot." So I just recommend it to you. But on that flag it has 4 quadrants. It has an ox, a fleece, a whale and a sailing ship. Primary production and the means of communication with the world when we were founded, and the source of our original prosperity. Wander around this great city and you see the bones of that beautiful Victorian architecture that was built on gold, pouring out of Ballarat and Bendigo, the second wave of our prosperity. The third wave, of course, comes in the 1920s when we discover plentiful, dirty but cheap brown coal in the Latrobe Valley, and our manufacturing sector drives the prosperity. Well, in 2016, 2017, the car industry is going to exit our city, our state. And that will be the loss of 24,600 jobs, a tragedy for many of those people who may not work again. The interesting part, though, upon to look at the next wave of prosperity and what that means for the city, we can look at that clue data and know where the jobs are being